Hello, Namaskar, and welcome to Talkingpointblank. Now, I want to talk about something which is really in the chat, something which is really gathering attention, और इस पे काफ़ी जो है speculations भी चल रही हैं, काफ़ी इस पे to and fro हो रहा है on social media, not on the ground. So I thought it is important to know why Bagram is very, very important as an airbase and what exactly is happening at Bagramairbase and what is the game plan behind that. So see, Bagram is an airbase which basically was built by the Soviets in the 1950s. That is when, the Soviet Union and Afghanistan were very, very close. 1959, when Eisenhower was on a trip to Asia, he also landed at Bagram. We have seen George Bush coming to Bagram in 2006 after the war on terror started. We saw Obama coming to Bagramairbase twice, last visit in 2014. Apart from that, Donald Trump was there once. Osama bin Laden, when he was killed, his body was brought to Bagram Airbase. Now, it's not that it has some sentimental value, but Bagram is one of the biggest air bases in Afghanistan. Initially built by the Soviets, the Americans further enhanced it, built another runway on it, built infrastructure on it, and also they had a sub-jail like which basically they had kept Taliban fighters in. So that was the Bagram jail. और जब तालिबान ने 2021 में टेक ओवर किया था तो there was a brief firefight between the NRF जो National Resistance Front था उस टाइम का and Taliban till Taliban took it over and then released all those prisoners as well who basically were Taliban or Al-Qaeda people. So Bagram पे काफी टाइम से debate चल रही है. We remember that Donald Trump is the one who stirred up this debate, saying that he wants Bagram back as per the Doha Agreement. But when the Doha Agreement was happening, these are the facts I'm bringing to you about what actually happened. What's the game plan and what happened at Bagramairbase. When the Doha agreements were going on, Americans wanted to retain Bagram, and they told Taliban that we would keep the Bagram airbase to ourselves. To that, Taliban was very, very clear. He said, if you keep one airbase to yourself, we'll fight you for another 20 years. You will have to vacate whole of Afghanistan, including Bagram airbase. So, but that time, what Donald Trump did was very, conveniently we see that he has been blaming Joe Biden for making a deal with Taliban and saying that they had a very, very bad deal with Taliban, and they had to leave a lot of weapons and sophisticated weapons and air defense equipment and ancillary equipment back at Bagram because the Americans just withdrew, which eventually the Afghan Taliban took over. Now, why Donald Trump once again made a claim on Bagram is because if you remember that about 3 months back, Donald Trump said that Bagram is an air base which is 1 hour away from where Chinese make their nuclear weapons. Right. So that time, the hostility between China and US was at the peak. The tariff war was at its, you can say at its peak. Both were having going with tariff wars at each other. Not only that, it also gives US a very, very clean base. Don't forget in early 2014, and before I come as a clean base, I want to explain this as well. When the war on terror started, a lot of Central Asian countries like, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, they didn't have a problem with an US airbase. Some US air bases also were a part of those regions. But as the time has progressed, most of these Central Asian countries have made some kind of peace with Taliban. Also, they look upon Russia a lot for their policies in the region. And they're less dependent on the Americans of what Americans are going to do in the regions, and they don't draw a lot of security from US as well. So, keeping that as background, now what Donald Trump was initially aiming at was, one, he had made this very open statement saying that the Chinese make nuclear weapons just an hour away from Bagram Airbase, so we need the Bagram Airbase. Number one is that. Number two is that giving a foothold to Americans in Bagram gives them a direct access to basically, carry out recon missions or even to carry out active missions in Russia, Iran, China, keep an eye on Pakistan, India, as far as Bangladesh. So strategically, it's a very, very important base for the Americans because Americans want to get a foothold back into the South Asian landscape. Now, what happened was when Trump said that, there was a reaction from the Taliban, where Taliban said, we're not going to give you an inch of Bagram, right? And this is where Pakistan comes in. This is another reason why Pakistan is in. And if you remember, and everything is linked. So, the day before yesterday, we did that video yesterday where we explained the relationship of Pakistan and America in vis-a-vis Afghan war, which is happening right now, and how Pakistanis went ahead and accepted in Istanbul that they're carrying out drone attacks at the behest of a third country, which they never wanted to reveal, but we all know it is United States. So Pakistan being a typical rentier state, what Pakistan seeks out of Bagram are two things. One, the opinion about Bagram within Taliban is divided. Now, why is it divided? There is a very small faction of Taliban which says that even if we give Americans a secret base in Bagram, and they say that it has to be a covert base, it cannot be announced as a big base. It cannot be publicly announced. If we give them a covert base, in return, we seek to, US to basically unfreeze our $9 billion, which are in US accounts, which the Americans have held on. Number one. Number two, they're also seeking recognition from the Americans as Taliban being the legitimate government of Afghanistan. So these are the two arguments which a section of Taliban has been presenting to Akhundzada as well as to Mullah Yaqub. But the bigger debate within Taliban is that once we let the Americans in, it will open up a Pandora's box within Afghanistan. Why? Because America is perceived to be enemy number one in Afghanistan, and Taliban has fought all their lives, 20 years of their lives, against the Americans and called them that illegal occupier. So they say if we bring the Americans back even in Bagram, we are opening a Pandora's box, because there are huge chances that there will be factions or interests within us who would actually go ahead and either start attacking us or either start attacking the US base, because they would say that this is treason to Islam, treason to Afghanistan, to let Americans back into Afghanistan. And the primary reason they are saying is that this is going to give ISKP. Now, please remember this. This is going to give ISKP a big enough reason to start fermenting trouble into Afghanistan, and that is what exactly Pakistan wants. We also all know that, ISKP is being reared in Pakistan's backyard. Pakistan is rearing ISKP to destabilize Afghanistan and to fight the Taliban. Apart from that, what Pakistan also seeks is that they know that once Americans are there and the partnership between America and Pakistan, the way it is going, it will be Pakistan who will be in a much better position to provide all the logistic supports from Pakistan towards Afghanistan to Bagram. So they are basically looking at exploiting the situation, financially as well, economically as well, and militarily as well. So that is one objective what the Pakistanis are trying to, obtain into Afghanistan by making sure that the Americans keep the pressure on Bagram on. Now, now Biden is somebody who actually, is taking a lot of flack from Donald Trump for doing that Doha deal where, Donald Trump said, I would have done it differently. We really don't know what different he would have done, given that the modulities and modules of that deal was basically sent under Trump, and Biden just went ahead and hastily carried those agreement out in Doha, and the American withdrawal happened. Second thing is, the way Russia-Ukraine war is going, or the way Middle East is shaping up and Iran is shaping up. Having Americans at the backyard is also going to make sure that the Iranians would try to destabilize Afghanistan and keep the pressure up on Afghanistan, on Americans, so that they don't settle up for a base. So it's going to be, at the cost of Afghan people and Afghanistan in general, if Donald Trump makes sure that he, by hook or by crook, he wants to get into Bagram. And we are going to see instability in Bagram. Now, there were credible reports last time, and this is what I want to bring about, because there's a lot of chatter happening that, India is into Bagram. Now, do remember that people who were saying India was in the Bagram are the same people who last year were saying Americans were have already landed in Bagram. So what happened? Did the Taliban kick out the Americans to bring the Indians in? Is that the news story which is happening there? Has Taliban become that powerful? But, I'm not, everybody is entitled to their point of view. But I think it's very, very important to, separate fact from fiction. Two reasons. Number one, as I said, there were reports, and these were very credible reports last time, that there was a C-130 which actually landed, of American Air Force, which actually landed with vehicles, deputy CIA chief was there, Amarullah Saleh was there, and there was some equipment which landed at Bagram. That happened last year. On basis on that report is what the channel started reporting. Few people on YouTube and on social media started reporting that Americans are in Bagram. Apart from that, also, we have to be one thing very, very careful about. No active engagement is if we are carrying out any active engagement, whether it is in any part of Afghanistan, it's a very, very clear no. Nobody can come on YouTube and claim that I'm sitting in Afghanistan and I'm doing this particular job in Afghanistan. The MOD doesn't allow you to do that. Even if you're a private contractor, your contract will be taken away. There are some very, very clear rules to communication that happens. You just can't come and say that I am doing this in this part of the world and doing this for the government, especially when it is such a critical issue and is such a sensitive issue which is involving literally the stakes of geopolitics in Afghanistan, and Indian stakes, American stakes, Pakistani stakes, all stakes are involved. So, that is why I really wanted to separate that fact from fiction, because a lot of you had actually sent me a message and were actually asking me why I think why I said in my previous video that it's a fiction at the best. It's not the reality, because some things you have to approach with common sense and some things you have to approach with practicality and honesty. And I know for a fact that if you are on any active, whether you are onto making runways as a contractor, you cannot just come in a sensitive place like Afghanistan and say on a YouTube channel that, oh, I'm sitting here and I'm doing this particular job. I'm sorry, you are not only risking your life, you're risking the entire country's reputation there as well, and the credibility, and also the security of the people who are sitting at that base. If at all they are sitting at that base. For now, they are not sitting at that base. So I think this is very, very important to understand why Bagram is a very, very important airbase and why the Americans would actually want to be in Bagram. Now, how Taliban is going to navigate through this rough waters, because this is Taliban, it's the most critical moment for Taliban. If they keep on the hard line saying that no to the Americans, then obviously the games in the backyard are going to start. We already are seeing those games being played. We already are seeing a drone strike in Kabul. We have seen ISKP trying to gain its foothold into Afghanistan. So how Afghan Taliban is going to navigate it is going to be something which is going to be seen. There are people who are saying that, they might get somebody who is more amenable to the American influence in the region, pointing at Haqqani, saying that Haqqani is, but please do understand that, in the Taliban structure, Haqqani is not the second biggest leader, or it cannot be guaranteed to become an automatic, Amir of Afghanistan just because something happens to Akhundzada. It's in fact Akhundzada who got Haqqani to where Haqqani is today. He was, basically Akhundzada is the one who has basically groomed him and brought him to this kind of position. So a lot of people don't understand the intricacies between Taliban, how it works, who has propped up who has not propped up who, and the key is going to be Mullah Yaqub. Now, Mullah Yaqub is somebody who is the defense minister of Afghanistan. Don't forget that why Mullah Yaqub is the key, because Mullah Yaqub is the son of Mullah Umar, the founder of Taliban and one of the most powerful leaders of Taliban in Afghanistan. So I thought it's very important to bring out the facts about this base and separate some fact from fiction as well. I hope you liked this video. If you did, kindly like it, share it, subscribe it. Ask your family and friends to subscribe to the channel. You can contribute to this channel by becoming members and through super thanks and super chats. I did had a comment saying that some of the people are not able to contribute through super thanks or super chats. I am going to go and check why that is happening, and I'll rectify that error if there is any error on my part. I hope to see you in the next video. Till then, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.